homework that Rick did earlier in the day, listening to the culture, listening to the people, getting some anecdotes, getting to know names and such, and then speaking about the rules that were meant to be breaking, and tying it all back, bringing it all in. The president, the CEO, and the board of directors was here tonight, and they just came to me and said, wow, what homework, what study, what a job, what a performer, and what a great message.
The goal for an event is to demonstrate a compelling contrast between what has been for the organization up until now and what could be in the future. The break a rule model is the structure I use for demonstrating that shift. Phase 1 is posing as a server, pretending to be one of the staff who gets more and more odd and eccentric as the meal progresses, which vivifies for the audience the habits they revert to when confronted by a challenging circumstance. Now, any change is felt as a challenging circumstance, so we have to have a clear look at what these habits are. And as a speaker, which is really a change facilitator, I use theater to elicit the insight that will actually allow them to shift successfully, because they've really clearly seen where they're starting from through the power of this humor and group experience.
And I'm a student of delivering messages, and the best way to deliver a message was through a story. And weaving that into the entertainment aspect of it, I really was thrilled watching other people interact with you, because they clearly had no idea. And then even when the fall came and I watched one of our board members and our CIO get up to try and help you, I realized they had no clue either. Then once the entertainment started, loved the crowd participation, grabbing people out of the audience. I thought that was great. That's always the best way to get people really bought in and involved.
Phase 2 is the show, where the audience experiences the contrast between rule following with the waiter character and the energy, the fun, the dynamic nature of rule breaking, participating, collaborating, or what I call intelligent misbehavior. The audience actually makes this journey together, again, from the current state to their possible future.
So the message at the end I thought was just unbelievable, and I couldn't believe the amount of preparation that you put into making this happen. The message box, basically, that we call it, we're all about delivering smiles, and we have these 4 key message points that surround that to get that message across. You hit on them better than most people in our company. Your book, I thought your 7 rules, I thought were fantastic, and we were blown away.
I talked to a lot of people after they saw the show, and they said it was one of the best things. They go to a lot of conventions, and they said it was probably one of the best things that they've seen at one of these shows.
It was the very best. All those 7 messages, great. Yes. Break the rules.
This is my 3rd one, and I guarantee you this was the wildest. I gotta tell you, the best hands down.
I love the message, because we came away from this convention so positive and so understanding what we're really looking forward to in this year, because you gave us information we've never had before. Entertainment's great, the message is more important.
By the time the keynote begins, then most of the work has really been done. They've had a bodily experience, and putting language to that experience is just a way of giving them a container they can use to take it back to work. The break a rule model is the take-home container for the big meal we give them.
Brent, where's the franchise business consultant? Brent, right there. So I'm at Brent's table. I fill up the water glass across his table all the way to the top. The woman who I've just filled it up with is looking at it in dismay. Brent from across the table says, "Could you please get her a straw?" Here's a person who's breaking the rule, pretend you don't matter. Later, I'm standing in the back of the room listening to Larry and Jim. Brent walks up to me. He walks up next to me. I'm standing there in my waiter outfit, and he goes, "So, have you done this much before?" He starts talking to me. He wants to know if I've done this before, how it's worked for me in the past. Here's a person whose job it is to observe the behaviors of others and try to help them improve. Rita Wood. I'm standing at the door this morning in my waiter outfit, Rita comes around the corner from her room. She sees me standing there and she says, "Hello, good morning, how are you?" Rita is the only individual out of your whole group who addressed me, greeted me, a server, nothing to do with any of you, except for the fact that I was standing there. And she had the opportunity to greet me and melt my socks with her hospitality. Breaking the rules, stay in control. So you guys are all what I call intelligent misbehavers. And not only are you already intelligent misbehavers, this is built into your brand strategy, into your brand promise. We help you express yourself perfectly with our flowers. You help people break the rule, be normal. You help them be more authentic, more expressive. A caring team obsessed with service. The only way you get that is by teaming up, asking each other for help, cooperating, collaborating. You're breaking the rule, be independent. Truly original arrangements. Breaking the rule, avoid mistakes. You're willing to try something new. It's built right into your brand to break these rules. Any powerful brand has some strategy for rule breaking. They have to, because that's what creates a customer experience that draws people out of that inattentiveness into a sense of delight, into the joy that Larry was talking about. Now, just to finish up, out of all those rules, if there were one that I could highly recommend you work on, it's this rule: avoid mistakes. It's a big one. As Larry said, the innovators win. Now this unicycle right here. How about a great big hand for the teamwork of all the guys who came up here and ladies and helped me up here. Without them, this extraordinary experience couldn't have occurred. It was true team play. But in the moment when those folks all let go, the four guys who were here, when they let go of this unicycle, there's only one thing I can do in that moment. Anybody know what that is? Fall. The very first and only thing I can do is fall off this machine. What's the second thing I do? Recover. Fall and recover. After I've recovered, the next thing I have to do is fall again. In fact, the very nature of this apparatus, in order to do what it's made to do, is a process of constantly falling, constantly being off balance, and constantly recovering. Customer service is the same thing. If we're not taking the risk to be off balance, if we're not trusting our mastery in the context of relationship, going to that edge where relationship is, we don't get that extraordinary customer experience. Now I got a quick test for you. Here's how it goes. I'm going to ask you 3 questions out loud. Your job is to answer them in a loud, clear voice without hesitating, all in unison. Everybody ready? Yes. What's the largest appliance in your kitchen? Refrigerator. What's the standard color of this appliance? White. What do cows drink? Milk. Cows drink water, of course. The point is, we can be led into following a line of associations that lead us to a completely faulty conclusion. The 7 rules I just shared with you are the wrong answer you've been trained to give about how to succeed in your personal and professional lives. In order to overcome those rules takes dedication, training, effort, and intention. We have to be the opposite of inattentive about every action, every move, every interaction, every word that we're delivering. at the beginning of this whole process, when I finished the meal, let's do a quick NPS score. How many people, by show of hands, would have been unlikely to recommend me as a service provider at the end of the meal? Show of hands. Well, we got about 90% there. Now, at the end of this whole evening, how many people would be likely to recommend my services to a friend or colleague? Again, we get about 90%. Looks like we've closed the loop. We've converted some of you as detractors into promoters. Here's the thing. I couldn't have been more of a mess at the beginning. I made more mistakes than anyone could possibly make. Not making mistakes is zero advantage. We've just seen it here. What counts is how you recover, what kind of risk you can take in the form of relationship, how you recover. Think it through, but take some great risks. You're going to have a great night tonight. We're bringing out some dessert. There are awards. Thank you for being such a tolerant group, and thank you for helping me to express myself. Thank you.